Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? It's Geoff, Mosher, and Adam Caplan. And guess what? It is the new week, and the Eagles will play not this weekend. They got Monday night game against the Packers for Week 10. So we have a whole week to go and another weekend of NFL football action before the Eagles will play Monday night. But we also have a trade deadline on Tuesday that we'll discuss. And the Eagles, Adam, continue to make moves as they did over the weekend. So we will get into everything on this podcast, of course. More intel on Michael Carter II. Intel, of course, on their newest acquisition, Jaire Alexander, former Ravens and Packers cornerback, and why it is that he is now on his third team since the end of last year. And we've got a lot to discuss. But the news cycle, did it feel like the bye week to you? Because I feel like there was more news than ever last week with the Eagles, just because of all the trades and acquisitions and personnel moves.
Yeah, I mean, look, I said in an interview Sunday, Jaire Alexander was not the name I was thinking of. I thought they were going to get someone that's a little bit more of a stable situation.
Right.
You just mentioned it. He's on a third team. It's kind of like what Jaire Alexander are they going to get? That's the problem. The Ravens knew they weren't getting the old one from Green Bay, and they moved on. We'll discuss what we know about the situation, but yeah, and the Michael Carter one is interesting. As we talked about over the last week, we think it's going to be nickel and backup safeties, kind of what we've heard. So
that's right.
And Greg Cosell pointed out to us, I totally forgot about this, that Joe Casper, the safeties coach, was on the Duke staff and Michael Carter was there. So there's some intel in addition to obviously Joe Douglas being with the Eagles. So
yes, I hope everybody appreciated. We gave an extra edition, a bonus edition of Inside the Tape with Greg Cosell because, of course, we didn't have a pregame show. So we did that to take the place. And Greg had some really good tape breakdown and intel on Michael Carter Jr. and how also Nakobe Dean has played. So that was fun. Now we will do an Ask Greg Cosell, as we always do this week on Patreon, Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, right? That's when we do that?
Tuesday night? Yes, 6. And tonight, a valiant return for our Tier 3 members. John DeFilippo, the Super Bowl winning Eagles quarterbacks coach, will be back with us. It's been a while since Coach Flip has been with us, so we're going to have him so tonight. And just go to patreon.com/Inside the Birds to sign up. All the benefits.
That's our Ask an Eagle show.
Yeah,
so our members, and by the way, that's tier 2 and 3 for Ask an Eagle. So they will get to tier 3 is Ask Greg Cosell, but tier 2 and 3 we get the Ask the Eagle.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. Even better. Yeah, even better. By the way, that now the tier 2s, if we move on, they still get commercial free, correct?
Yes. They get everything tier 1 and tier 2 gets. The only thing that they don't get is to Ask Greg Cosell every week. That is for tier 3.
Okay, cool.
Gets everything else in bonus work.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
good to know.
Yep. It'll be fun, and I know everybody's really excited about it. And you know what? I just think Greg's really been hitting the tape hard, and his stuff on Michael Carter and Nakobe Dean was really good as well.
Jihad Campbell, but you got to watch it to listen to know.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting bye week for the Eagles. I mean, two of the teams that were considered their real threats in the NFC, Ray Didinger and Derek Gunn talked about this last week when they did kind of a look around the conference, who's right up there with the Eagles in the NFC. The Packers and the Lions both lost. Kind of upset losses by both of those teams.
Kind of.
It's crazy. It sort of reminded me, like, Adam, when the Eagles had that 2-game losing streak against the Broncos and the Giants. Remember, nobody in the division was able to gain any ground. The Commanders were losing. The Cowboys were losing or tying. Nobody really gained ground. And here the Eagles are off, and the Lions are red hot, and the Packers are playing well, and bam, both those teams lose.
It was upset Sunday. It was the Colts lost. Hey, they were favored on the road at Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
That certainly was one, but the big one was the Packers choking at home to the Panthers. I know the Panthers have been a good story. They're certainly well improved. Their defense is phenomenal, but their offense, they have trouble scoring, but they run the ball, and that's real good news for the Eagles as they come back off their best performance against the Giants run the football.
Yeah,
I mean, for fantasy, if you got Rico Dowdle, this dude is ridiculous. The absolute. Now you have them, don't you? Didn't you tell me?
Let me just tell you, I have Rico Dowdle and Joe Flacco as
Ah,
backups.
wait, you
Because
didn't play Flacco, did you?
I didn't only be I had been, but I also have Matthew Stafford, who himself is on a heater. The guy's got 9 touchdowns in his last 2
Stafford
games.
is Stafford is on a roll, but yeah. So how it applies to the Eagles? Look, Rico Dowdle crushed them,
Yep.
crushed the Packers. We're going to get into their injury stuff. We have updated stuff through Sunday's game, which is interesting, and it's bad. Yeah, but the Eagles now are their number 1 seed for now. They're 6-2. The Packers are 5-2-1. That awful tie against the Cowboys, but they gave up 40.
Right.
They have. You were talking to personnel people, the NFL's best roster, but that doesn't mean you win. It's coaching, it's performance. What an awful loss! It's just they had no energy. They just couldn't get things going.
Yep.
And the injuries are piling up for the Packers, folks. They've got some problems, which we'll get into in a minute.
And I think right now, I mean, again, things will change. It's a week-to-week league. We know that. I mean, geez, the Colts were on fire and they go into Pittsburgh and kind of get their asses kicked. So that just shows you how it's a week-to-week league. But right now, when you look at the NFC, instead of saying Packers Lions, I mean, the Rams are clearly on fire. They're 6-2. They gave a really good game to the Eagles in a loss. We all know about the block punt touchdown. And the Bucks, the Tampa Bay Bucks were by. They've had a ton of injuries, but despite all of their injuries, they are 6-2 as well. And they also gave the Eagles a really good game, had a kind of a comeback there, but that fell short. But those are the 2 teams that, and listen, I'm sure the Lions and Packers will still be pretty formidable as well. But it's an interesting NFC East, to say the least.
NFC, right?
NFC, I'm sorry, yeah, NFC.
Right. The Eagles actually have a lockdown on the NFC East,
Oh,
but
God, yeah.
the Eagles have the tiebreaker now against the Bucks. The Rams, that's really important. If they beat the Packers in 1 week from now, they'll have that tiebreaker. They don't play the Seahawks and they don't play the Niners, but they do play the Lions after this game. So, and the Lions, wow, I didn't see that coming. JJ McCarthy played under control. They didn't have to do a lot. Their defense played really, really well. And the Lions are another team. Terrion Arnold got hurt again. Their much maligned cornerback situation's gotten worse. So they've got problems. The Eagles come off this bye. By the way, in addition to Alexander, they did make 2 moves. Marcus Epps, well, I don't know what the injury was, but we're not surprised that Ojulari was put on with the hamstring put on IR. That's not a surprise based on what we'd heard. But
right,
I didn't know about the Epps injury, so they're down a safety. But that's where Michael Carter could get, because he was a safety at
Duke.
Yeah, so he could. In fact, from what we understand, he's going to get some reps there.
Yeah, very interesting. And by the way, getting back to the sort of the incoming matchup on Monday night, the Packers not only lost that game, but they had some severe injuries that will undoubtedly take their toll. Starting with the tight end, Tucker Kraft, who really got hurt. And I know that there's fears that he's going to be out for the rest of the year with a knee injury. That's a tough loss for them.
Yeah, they know it's serious. It's just a matter of, is it an ACL or not? If it's an ACL, he's done for the season, obviously.
Right.
He's out. We know he's not playing for the near future. Certainly won't be playing against the Eagles. And it'll be Luke Musgrave, which is interesting about Musgrave and Kraft is Musgrave was the guy everyone talked about for the draft, not Kraft.
Right.
And then Musgrave gets hurt. Kraft fills in, and then he takes over. He's the guy. Musgrave is like a forgotten man. Now, Musgrave will take over for Kraft. Jane Reed won't be back till December. Broken clavicle, foot injury. Who's their really important player, by the way.
Very much.
Who's their slot? Dontavian Wicks, who's one of their top backup receivers. He missed last week against Carolina with a calf injury. We just mentioned Kraft. Marshawn Lloyd, doesn't sound good for him to return this season. He hasn't even been played. He missed just about all of last season. He'd be their number 2 back, man. Good. He was going to be the 3rd down back.
Yeah.
Well, he's not playing. And then Colby Wooden, one of the starting D tackles, got hurt with a shoulder injury. So they're beat up. They're down at receiver. They're down at tight end. Not a good time for the Packers to play. The Eagles are off their bye.
No, I feel like for the Packers, Adam, it's sort of 1 step forward, 2 steps back, because they were just welcoming back Christian Watson, who's been playing well for them, for 2 weeks now, coming back from the ACL, and then to lose Kraft. We'll see what happens with him, but he's clearly injured for a while, and not have Jaden Reed. It's just, they've just not been full strength all year long, and it's kind of shown in their offense. They've been very up and down offensively.
And Love was unbelievable for the 20 for 20 in the second half. That role at Pittsburgh, he brought them back when they were down. It'll be Dobbs. You're going to see Dobbs and Watson start at receiver for the Packers. Musgrave will take over at tight end. They go with that. There's that guy. It's funny. I never forget when you said when Manuel Wilson came out of remember the first game in Brazil last year?
Yes.
You're like, who is this guy? Yeah, Manuel Wilson. Yeah, that's who he is.
Yeah.
He's still the backup to Jacobs because of Marshawn Lloyd injury.
And Marshawn Lloyd's always hurt. I feel bad for the guy, but he's always hurt.
Yeah, Marshawn, he really hasn't played at all in the NFL yet. And then, Bo Milton out of Rutgers has moved to corner this season.
That's right. Brother of Max Milton with the
yes. And Matthew Golden, by the way, also I should have mentioned he had a shoulder injury, the first round pick out of Texas.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So, obviously that's a good break for the Eagles. Speaking of the Eagles, so they make yet another trade. And this has been we even talked about this last pod before this trade for Jaire Alexander. It has just been a season's worth of very odd trades for the Eagles and Howie Roseman, going back to the, Gardner Johnson for Kenyon Green. And then you trade for John Mechie. He's with the team and now he's gone. I mean, they've made so many of these like kind of minor Ja'Cory Bennett, who they hope to be more than just a minor move. But right now, so far, it's been a minor one. And here they bring in Jaire Alexander. And Adam, this one, I thought this time when the trade was made, the reaction was going to be a little bit tempered. I just thought, because we've seen this before with like a Kevin Byard or a Robert Quinn or, many times in the past where the Eagles trade for a household name and it just doesn't work out because he's not that guy anymore. So I thought the reaction I would see, or people messaging us or emailing us or whatever at Inside the Birds, would be a little tempered, but it it seemed like people are really enthusiastic and think that this is going to really work out. And I get that they gave up next to nothing for him. I understand that there's no downside, but if someone's calling this a low risk, high reward trade, I would say, explain to me why high reward. Where is the high reward that the two teams that gave up on this guy are kind of better off without him, or they expect to be better off without him, and he's just going to come to the Eagles and play like he did 4 years ago? That's where it's a little far-fetched for me.
He is, at one point, was the top 5 quarter. He was phenomenal, just really good. And then he had the knee problems, some pretty serious knee problems. Then the craziness of the coming out as a captain against the Panthers when he wasn't a team captain. Got suspended for a game. It was bizarre. They offered him a pay cut. He's making too much money. He said no. He had opportunities to go up when he was cut. It was Baltimore and other teams, but he wanted to be reunited with a college teammate, Lamar Jackson. Well, here's what happened. He had a little bit of a knee issue. Then he got healthy, and they suffered so many cornerback problems, injuries. They were down 3 or 4 corners. Marlon Humphrey missed time. Chido Awuzie missed time. Humphrey. There were a bunch of guys who were hurt, and they wouldn't even play him. He only played in 2 games. The word was, conditioning. Didn't think he could help them, which John Harbaugh swore. I remember him. I get the quote, so I remember him. He was pretty out in front. He's going to help us. He's going to help us. Well, he never did.
Yeah. And I think you can make an argument somewhat that since they were relying on him for a little while and they were having they have objectively one of the worst defenses for the first 6 weeks of the season. It started to look better in their last game against Miami, but keep in mind, A, they're much healthier on the back end, and B, they're playing Miami. So there's a little bit of that into it. But just to explain what you were saying, Adam, about not helping them and even hurting them, he played in 2 games. Okay, I think he's got a total of 61 snaps, right? He's been targeted 5 times. All 5 passes were complete for 116 yards. That's an average of 23.2 yards target. And as my colleague Jimmy Kempski, he detailed this and wrote this on PhillyVoice.com.
Okay.
In the other play that didn't count because it was a penalty, he gave up a 27-yard defensive pass interference. So forget about not even helping the team. He hurt the team drastically when he was out there, and they decided for 6 weeks of being a bad defense that they were still better off not having him on the field. Folks, what can we say? Like, again, it's a dart throw. It doesn't hurt them, but it does, to me, it sort of creates this weird, strange lot. I would think at this time of the year, Adam, when you're the Eagles and you're trying to win a championship again, or at least bolster your roster, you're trying to make a move that will help your team. You want to help your team at this point. You know what the deficiencies are. You want to upgrade it. this is definitely not a move where you can definitely say you've upgraded your team. It's a lateral move with hope. But Howie Roseman has said a lot of times as a general manager, hope is not a strategy.
Yeah.
So I have to call him under the question, what is it you made this trade for? Because it seems to me like you're hoping to get something that the Packers and the Ravens haven't gotten in quite a while.
So we've heard for weeks that they've been looking at corner hard. Edge we'll get to later, but corner very hard. But it's just not the player I thought they'd get. Now I understand from talking to various teams, the ask for starting corners is high, even with the bad teams, very high. It's why you haven't really seen any action. You've seen a couple nickels traded. Eagles got one of them. Roger McCurry doesn't have Michael Carter's seconds versatility, by the way. People want to know. But the bottom line is they have a cornerback problem opposite Mitchell. They could have 50 corners. They don't have a starting corner opposite Mitchell. They just don't.
This is your point about depth. Depth is not how many bodies you have. It's how many that can actually go and play and help you. Yeah, I don't see them as any deeper right now because they added Jaire Alexander.
Exactly.
And it'll be interesting is they'll probably have to make a move, right? Don't you think they'll have to? Because I know they put 2 guys on IR, but if Brandon Graham's ready to play and Jacorian Bennett's ready to play, those are your 2 guys. So you still have to make a corresponding move theoretically if you're going to have
at that point, right? Because they just put 2 guys on IR. So let's look at the corner position right now. Okay, Mac McWilliams, they don't play. Okay, they're not playing him. Right. He's a non-factor, unfortunately, this season. Adoree Jackson's got to get clear from concussion protocol because he didn't play the last game. Yep. Right now, we'll just give you the guys who are healthy who could play cornerback. Adoree Jackson, Quinyon Mitchell, Kelee Ringo, Cooper DeJean, and Jaire Alexander, okay? You could nix McWilliams. They clearly don't have any use for him this season. He just doesn't play. Despite what looked to be a good preseason, but clearly in practice he's not showing it. So that's one guy you can move off there. Now the question is, when Jackson's ready, because they have Michael Carter, at some point before the end of the regular season, do they start playing DeJean at corner more instead of nickel? He's great at nickel. That's something that Michael Carter, as you said when at the trade, Carter's got to show that he can play the nickel the way that they want him to play it. This is not every nickel. Not every team plays nickel the same way. Yes, they play inside, but how you deploy them, where they move them, covers, whatever the case may be, it's not always the same. And plus, they teach it. They just teach technique differently here. So Alexander, he's obviously going to play when they think he's ready to play. But the bottom line is, Mitchell's the only guy that could count on opposite. Mitchell's the only guy that could count on. The opposite right now, you've got Jackson, you've got Alexander, you got Ringo. Okay? None of them right now show that they're starting quality corners. We don't know about Alexander. Nobody knows because the Ravens didn't want to play him. So look what they got, next to nothing for him.
Right. Hey, Philly fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there. But when it comes to your cannabis, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. This is the dispensary for sports fans, just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting. And they don't just care about convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes sure you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality cannabis at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality cannabis, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up. This is why I said in our last podcast, the sort of the bye-week self-scout episode, I said I really think Jacorian Bennett is one of the most important players.
Him too, but he's not on the roster right now.
Right, that's what I assumed you left him out because he's not on. But
not on,
he is one of the most important players if this defense wants to get where it hopes to be.
Yes,
because if he's even just good, he don't have to be a Pro Bowler. He don't have to be an All-Pro. Just if he can get out there and be a legitimately good corner. Darius Slade did not make a Pro Bowl. He didn't make an All-Pro last year. He was beatable at times, but he was good enough.
He hung in there. Yeah,
he was good enough. If
Bennett, the pass rush was great. Yeah,
Right. You're just looking for somebody to stabilize it and not be picked on.
Hold their own, right? The term is
Right.
hold their own. Like Ringo, I know the numbers aren't bad, but they're not throwing at him much. I'm going to say this again. There's no one who works in the National Football League thinks that Ringo's a starting corner. They just don't. I mean, we've asked, Geoff and I have asked so many people, they can't believe he's starting. I'm like, well, yeah, but they don't have anybody else. If Bennett had not gotten hurt with a pectoral injury, I guess he hurt it and then he re-injured it, and it's a pectoral strain.
Yep.
We'll see. But now, remember, tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern is the deadline. It's not completely out of the question they'd trade for a corner. But you would think with Bennett coming back soon,
right,
relatively soon, he got work and he no problem from what we understand. Sure that he looked fairly healthy, but they didn't use him. They didn't activate him. And you've got Green Bay coming up here. Now, Green Bay is a balanced offense between 12 and 13. We see 12 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now with the Musgrave injury. Do they go more with 11? Depends on Dontavian Wicks and Matthew Golden. And that obviously stretches the Eagles at corner.
Yep.
And we'll talk more about that matchup later in the week. But our job here is not to sugarcoat anything.
Right.
Alexander has not played highly competent football in nearly 3 years.
Yes.
So he's been hurt. He's still young, though. He's only 28. He doesn't turn 29, I think, until February. But the bottom line is it's been kind of a nightmare for him. And a team that had him and needed him decided they couldn't use him. They just didn't trust him. So it is what it is.
Right. Nope. I think that's a very fair summation of it. And to your point, I think you were alluding to this. You're right that they could still trade for a corner, but it's not like Howie Roseman is just going to start picking up the phone today or tomorrow before deadline looking for corners. He's been making calls for quite a while. The fact that he already traded for Carter in the way he did and Jaire Alexander is a pretty good, again, nothing's absolute, indication that the corner market's just not looking really good for what Howie wants to give up. And so he's trying to make moves to try to bolster the team, realizing that it's probably unlikely that he's going to be able to get himself a really
I'm not ruling it out because I know they have a lot of them. When Bennett comes back, you go, someone's got to go. Okay, fine. Like we mentioned last week, maybe they work out a deal with Jackson to go to the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just telling you, folks, this is a wide open thing. Both conferences, by the way, with the Chiefs losing, everyone's saying, "Oh, they're locked to win the Super Bowl." No, they're not. The Colts lost. The entire NFL is wide open. Anyone could win it this year. There is no favorite.
Right. So since the start of the training camp, Howie has traded for 3 defensive backs already, right? Bennett, Carter, and Alexander. He's traded for 3 defensive backs. He's traded for an offensive tackle in Fred Johnson. He traded away an offensive lineman to the Packers. Fred. Yeah. Fred Johnson was a very good move. He traded for a quarterback in Sam Howell. Correct. That was a trade, was it not?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. He traded for a running back, Tank Bigsby.
Yep.
Right. I mean, it has just not been
right now. It looks like
it looked bad at first. It finally looks good now, right? Yeah. Anybody else I've missed? Oh, a wide receiver, John Mechie.
It didn't work. Yeah.
I mean, this has been the most bizarre year of these. Oh, and an offensive lineman in Kenyon Green. I forgot to. Yeah, I mentioned.
Well, you mentioned it. It was.
I mentioned it earlier, but not in this latest summation. So
look, it's been a low octane. He's made a lot of moves, but it's low octane because of the cash budget. And by the way, Alexander's cash. The Eagles are responsible for about roughly around $1 million of the $2 million he's owed. Like the total cash is $4 million. Baltimore's responsible for $2 million of it. The remaining $2 million, you cut it in around half. It's prorated for the rest of the season. So look, it's a dart throw. You see if he's got anything left. Mm-hmm. But you mentioned earlier, I just they're going to have to rely on Bennett at least to be a fact. He's got to be a factor unless they make a trade by the deadline. Mm-hmm. There's really nowhere else to go.
There is not. 8 trades since the start. Amazing. 8. That is, even for Howie, that's a ton. Now, to your question, is there one more left? And is it the home run trade? Is it a trade for an edge rusher? Because there's obviously were a bunch of reports over the weekend, which are obvious. First of all, Howie's going to call no matter what. He's always going to call around.
He's been trying to. Here's from our sources.
Mm-hmm.
One source said they want an edge badly. Badly. He's going after it again with Ojulari on IR, right? If you look at their edge issue right now in terms of depth and just talent, okay, Josh Uche's been a nice story, right?
Yeah.
As a backup edge rusher, he shows he's kind of regained form.
Right.
You can play. Patrick Johnson's been a great story. Okay, fine. But they're backups, okay?
Right.
Jalen Hunt has come on lately, but he's nowhere close to where
he's not Josh Sweat level yet.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah, where you would want him to be, but he's improving.
Yep.
They don't have a proven. They just don't have that guy right now.
Right.
Jod Campbell, they're not playing him at edge as a pass rusher. They play him at edge as an add-in defender against the run. He's not rushing the passer at all. BG, as BG said in his little video there at the time of the signing, no expectations. He doesn't know. He's 37 years old. How the hell does anyone know? I mean, he was great before he got hurt. He's phenomenal. We love having him. Everybody loves having him back, but they're just questions. Again, it's just it's a tough deal. So I mean, we know this. I mean, this is not a secret. Anyone who's done any checking knows that the Eagles are on Bradley Chubb or Jalen Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
A couple teams told me that they do not want to move Chop Robinson, for people wondering about it. Their first rounder last year, who really came on at times last season, but unfortunately had a knee injury to start the season, got limited a little bit by it. But they just drafted in the first round last year. Why would you trade this guy?
Right. I've wondered that too. Also about, I know there's been some report on Jermaine Johnson and the Jets, and I know he had the ACL injury. But if you're the Jets and you still,
no, it wasn't ACL, it was torn Achilles.
I'm sorry, Achilles. Right, I meant that. You still want to keep good young players. I mean, I just don't know why they would want to move him unless they didn't want to give him a contract, and that's a different story. But you're trying to win games. He's a good young player who's had success.
Here's why. I don't necessarily agree with this, but this is just the way it goes.
Okay.
Darren Muji, the GM, did not draft him. This just happens a lot. He's not their guy. Right. Yeah, he's a Jet, but he's not their guy.
Yep.
Will McDonald, who's needs to bulk up a little bit, but is a good player. They have Michael Clemens, who's a power rusher, plays a power end. It's those three could play, no doubt. Mm-hmm. You trade Johnson, then they're really late. I agree with you, but it just they're open to moving Johnson is what I'd heard over the weekend. We'll see if it happens with the Eagles or anywhere else. I know the Athletic put a report out that Howie called for him.
I guess I would say if I were the Jets, I would be open to moving him too for really. I'm not giving him away. This is not like he's not my guy. I'll take a 4th round pick from him. I mean, have a high price tag.
He is.
I don't want to move him.
I agree with you. He got off to a rough start his first year. Then he came on. Heard from a Jet source he matured big time. Became actually one of their leaders after the knock on scouting that he wasn't a leader when he came out of Florida State. But he's turned himself around. He's a good player. In fact, the arrow was pointing so up before he tore his Achilles 2 years ago.
Right.
It's unfortunate because when you get something right, actually, I'm sorry. No, it was actually last year to start. He got hurt in week 2.
Yep.
He had a really good 23. It's too bad. So that's a guy, someone from the Dolphins. I'd be very surprised if they don't get somebody, but we never say never. It takes 2 to tango. Mm-hmm. We'll see if Howie's willing to overpay, and that's kind of what happens. But I'll be interested to see what happens with Miami because they've got Champ Kelly, who's the interim GM, who ironically was an interim GM 2 years ago with the Raiders when he took over for Dave Ziegler when Ziegler and Josh McDaniels were fired, or 2 or 3 years ago. But we'll see. The word I got over the weekend was he's allowed to trade, but certain things he's going to have to run by ownership. Steve Ross, like for if someone's going to call about Jalen Waddle, I mean, how could you possibly trade this guy? It's just.
I would agree with you. Again, if you want to win games, unless someone blows you out of the water and gives you more than you should ask for a wide receiver. Chubb's interesting, though, Adam, because he played for Vic not only in Miami, but also in Denver. Did Vic draft him? Yeah. So that's a guy who has experience with Vic. So that
he wasn't there when he was drafted, I don't think, but he was definitely there when he coached.
Yeah, he was there when Vic was there, right? And then also in Miami. So there's a good connection there. Guy who's flourished in his scheme. It would make the Eagles. That's a trade that clearly makes the Eagles better.
Oh yeah. See, with Phillips, man, he's so explosive, but he's had, I believe, without looking, I think ACL and Achilles.
Yeah. Plus, isn't he the one who retired in college and then came back.
He did.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
some
You got to
stuff.
be careful,
Yeah. Now he's healthy. Tape, I'm told, looks good. Chubb looks fine. He looks really good.
Right.
They know the scheme, as you said, and Chubb, it's amazing. He's played for Vic twice. And yeah, I mean, they know. See, the thing is, like, for people bringing up Trey Hendrickson, the cash is it's really it's a very easy contract to take. He's on a 1-year deal. The Bengals were responsible for 20 of the 29 million. In fact, they're actually responsible for more than that because you prorated for the second half of the season. So if a team gets him, now they lost, what's the point? They're not going to pay. I mean, he's not going to come back. So why don't you trade him? The team that would receive him only own $4.5 million. That's a very tradable contract. But the only problem with Hendrickson is he's a hand in the dirt edge rusher.
Yep.
He played in a 43 under Dennis Allen with the Saints before he signed with the Bengals. Bengals run a 43, Saints run a 43. You saw what happened with Bryce Huff.
Yep. I think there would be. I agree with you. I was going to bring this up. I think that there would be some red flags to that kind of a deal.
Great dude, great player, but if the Eagles ran the same scheme, I'm all in, man. I'm like, this takes 30 seconds. I'm getting this guy to put us over the top at edge, but got to be careful, man. You got to be careful. Howie's the best GM in the National Football League. No one's arguing that, but his history at this trade deadline is not good. He's been good in March, but this one in season, very mixed at best.
Hey, I still like a good night out, but I'm not always in the mood to drink, and that's why I looked for a great alternative, and I found one. It's called Soul's Out of Office Gummies. You get the same light, happy buzz, but you don't have the hangover. There's no sugar, and you don't get that awkward feeling the next morning. They help me unwind and ease into my evening without the alcohol or the next day fog. Soul is a wellness brand that believes feeling good should be fun and easy. Soul specializes in delicious hemp-derived THC and CBD products designed to boost your mood and help you unwind. Their best-selling out-of-office gummies were designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz, boost your mood, and enhance your creativity and relaxation. With 5 different strengths, you can tailor the dose to fit your vibe. From a gentle 1.5 milligram microdose to their newest 15 milligram gummy for a more elevated experience. They've also got a variety of products specifically designed to help you get a better night's rest, including Soul's top selling sleep gummy, a fan favorite for deep restorative sleep. So bring on the good vibes and treat yourself to Soul today. Right now, Soul is offering our audience 30% off your entire order. So go to getsoul.com and use the code BIRDS, BIRDS. That's getsoul.com, promo code BIRDS for 30% off. All right, so that is a look at the Eagles, the moves that they made, the moves that they could make before the 4 p.m. deadline on Tuesday. And we are going to have another huge week of coverage and content on the Inside the Birds platform. We've got Inside the Birds. Inside the Tape, we'll just do some Packers preview tape with Greg Cosell. Birds Weekly will be up to Tuesday, and their preview will be up on Friday. We've got our special Patreon. We did a chalk talk with a former Eagles pro scout named Dan Hatman. He runs the Scouting Academy, which a lot of people know about now. We've shortened that, and we will have that up on mainstream later today, I believe. So it's just going to DeCecco Daily. We have our WBCB show on Tuesday. We have just a ton of content coming back your way. And before you know it, it'll be Monday night, and the Eagles will be at Lambeau for their Week 10 game. And by the way, Adam, when you say 10, we're past the halfway point of the 2025 season now. It's kind of crazy.
This is the fastest season I've ever seen.
Agreed. It's just flown by.
I hope it's really cold. I hope it's really cold on the frozen tundra. I hope it's in the 20s.
That would be awesome. I don't think any of the beat reporters agree with you, but it is cool.
I love going as a former season ticket holder. We're going back a long time ago. You're talking 30 years. But I just loved those games at the Vet, which are disgustingly cold on the concrete. I don't know. That's football to me, man. Come on.
That is football. And when it's at Lambeau, it's even more special.
That's right.
I've been there 4 or 5 times, and I've cherished the moment every single time.
You've been there that many times, really?
Yeah, there was a couple. Like I got on the beat on 05, right? In 06, I think they played there in 06. I know they played a season opener in, I think, 07 or 08 when Greg Lewis had like 2 fumbled punts.
That's it, because you nailed it. Andy, they didn't have a punt returner, so he had to do it.
Right.
I just remember, I don't know, I think I was writing for scout.com, and I wrote this piece like, this makes no sense. Like, it was before the game. It was like, how do you not have a punt returner?
Right.
I didn't know a lot about special teams at that point. This is so long ago, but I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And wouldn't you know it had
Yeah.
exactly as you said it. Yeah.
And then they played a preseason game there once, so that was
really
cool to go there in August. Yep.
Oh,
and
wow.
then I was there for Nick Foles's amazing season where he beat. The game was started by who's that Notre Dame quarterback who could run a little bit? Seneca Wallace, is that right? I don't know. It wasn't Notre Dame. It might have been Iowa State.
I don't. State, yes.
Yeah, but they pulled him after like 2 drives and then put in Tolzien from
Scott Tolzien.
Really? Yeah, yes. But I was there for that game. Another one. So yeah, it's a really wonderful place. I really enjoyed it every time I was at Lambeau Field.
All right, so it's real quick.
2013.
2013. Well, you're amazing. You and Joe DeCamera have the greatest memories. So okay, that game, you nailed it without looking. You didn't look this up, right?
No. How can you forget a game started by Seneca Wallace and finished by Scott Tolzien?
It was weird though. What Wallace was 5 for 5 for 25 yards. Was this was this planned? Did he get hurt?
I just remember in the week leading up, there were like reports that they weren't happy with. Scott Tolzien had been like either signed or promoted, and he was taking a lot of reps, and there was a good chance he was going to get in the game if things started slowly. Wallace may have left with like a stub toe. Something like that.
I don't know, but here's a crazy one for you. Nick Foles had 8 carries in that game. What in the hell?
Yeah, it was a really weird game. Wow. I definitely remember that.
Only 18 passing attempts for 3 touchdowns. I'm like, what a crazy season. This was Chip's first year. Mm-hmm. The league couldn't figure it out. James Casey, by the way, caught the name we probably have never mentioned in the 8 years. James Casey he's a tight ends coach, I think, for the Bengals. He had a catch in that game.
Yep.
Yeah, boy, Eddie Lacy.
I think I was there one more time, maybe in 2014 or 15, and Aaron Rodgers just, if I'm not mistaken, Rodgers just ripped them apart, like ripped them over and over. If I'm not, maybe I'm imagining it, but I thought they were there one more time. But either way.
Looking forward to it. Can't wait. That'll be a great one. But we will drop a show at Monday morning. We usually do that when it goes to a Monday night game. We update injuries, lineup changes, and anything else we learned.
There you go. So look forward to another great week of coverage and content on the Inside the Birds platform. That'll do it for this edition of Inside the Birds podcast, the leading podcast in Eagles intel. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the Birds.